Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Nikhil Goswami, and today's topic of what I'm wanting to tell you guys is that why the current state of world is multipolar. When you understand that when the brisk of war happened between Russia and Ukraine, the country was totally divided into two parts. The country not, the whole world is divided into two parts. The Ukraine was backed up by the NATO and the USA, not by the army and the armed conflict. They were supporting them financially by giving them billions of millions of dollars. Recently, the America has announced giving around $900 million of support to Ukraine. Do you know Ukraine can't afford if the Ukraine was to fight on its alone? Ukraine can't afford these weapons. Do you know how much Javelin missiles have been fired by now? Around 280. A single Javelin missile costs around uh, $40 million. It is around 1 crore rupees. So, do you think that USA has a really interest in them? No. European countries and NATO and US just only fights war to downgrade the Russia. If you think that why the countries at the United Nations Security Council abstaining the vote while not supporting themselves or having neutrality, just like you can take an example of the India. Why India has taken the stance of neutrality? It is because India has its own interest, and second thing, India wants to diplomacy for its own people, not for the improvising or making new conflicts, just like the US did from the past, and also he is doing right now also, not on its own land but on the different land of a different country. Just like you can see from the previous example of the when the Soviet attacked the Afghanistan, USA backed the Taliban, gave them multi-billion dollars of weapons, and then stowed the Soviets from the Afghanistan after 10 years of conflict. That the same Taliban happened to stowed the USA from the Afghanistan soil. That was the blunder of the US. So it is kind of a multi thing that the same Taliban, yeah, Taliban is in the off topic, okay. Now back to the India. Why India is choosing neutrality and why the European Union is so very negative way of India? It is because India has its own interests and wants to fight for its own people, not for the other people. And the India stance for the Russia-Ukraine war is only diplomacy. Guys, it is very difficult truth that no war can solve anything. You have to sit on a desk, try to solve the matter with a diplomatic channels, with words, and you can say from the quote that pen is mightier than the sword, right? So it is same thing. When you sit on the desk and try to figure out the solutions, it is more better than fighting over something you don't know about it. I will give you two stances of the why the war is happening. First thing, from the Russia perspective. From the early days when the NATO was formed, NATO policy was to expand himself so that the counter Russia, just like they were doing when the Russia was Soviet was divided into several countries. They expanded the NATO toward the east side of the Russia, right? After that, they want to try to gain Kazakhstan, but it was early being it was before the NATO could approach Kazakhstan and these type of countries. Russia already backed them and gained the support. So the focus goes on the Ukraine and the Sweden, right, and the Poland type of countries. So these countries, Poland, Sweden, and the Ukraine, have borders with India. Borders with the Russia. So it's a clear when the NATO expands its territory to the Russian border, so it's a direct conflict with the Russia and it's a security threat to Russia. That is the stance of the Russia. That's why the NATO wants to expand. If the NATO expands, then Russia will attack to gain its support and increase its own and distort its security threats, right? And second, coming to the stance of the Ukraine. Ukraine wants to go with the NATO because they want to secure their own internal security and the external security. Just like you can see, the Donbass region and the Russian separatist groups are being supported by the Russia as a militia groups that are fighting inside the Ukraine, right? Recently, when you in 2014, 15th of July, Malaysian Airlines was shot down by the Russian separatist groups that was supported by the Russia. So, if we see of the Ukraine stance, it is also it's correct in its own way, but we can see from the Russia stance also we can say he is also correct in its own way. But the lit of fire between the war was being held up by the USA and the European Union. Russia and Ukraine are inherently being very close in the DNA and in the culture also. But the interest lies when the country Soviet was divided into two parts, the Russia, Ukraine, and several other countries. After the Cold War, the Soviet has a very hard relation with the US. So it is very obvious that USA will support the Ukraine. As you can see, the enemy of the enemy is the enemy of the friend, right? So if we say that this war is being held up by the US and the European Union, it is not very sad, right? It is 100% true. And second, coming to the fact that why the US and the European Union are very hostile towards the neutral countries. Just like, for example, India. India has its own interests. For example, when the in 1971 war happened, when the Bangladesh was liberated from the Pakistan, right? Pakistan was giving the Bangladesh genocide. They were raping women. They were killing Bangladeshi. When the India came to liberate the Bangladesh, the US, the the European Union, NATO, Sri Lanka, these type of China, these type of countries are very hostile and they want to bring a nuclear war to us. The USA sent its aircraft carrier fleet to back the Pakistan. But then the picture comes. India signed a security treaty with the Soviet. The Soviet sends us the nuclear submarines to support the India. Then the picture comes that the USA are so cat-like figures, they flee from the war. Sorry. So it is very obvious and it is very inherently seen in our Indians that we support Russia from our heart, because we have to pay them back at any time in the coming future. So it is a time right now. We can't we can't tell them that you are doing not wrong and all that. We have to support them. They will have done something in the past, so we have to in our current, present, or in the future. That is what the India is doing. India is not supporting anyone. India is not supporting any type of war. India is not supporting any type of conflict. India is supporting the path of peace and security in its own countries. Why the people fight? Why the people fight? Because of its political instability, just like happened in the World War One and World War Two. Why we want to fight? If we will not fight, we will have a kind of stability. But this is not going to happen if the US is present. The current Biden administration is so fucking, I'm sorry to use this abusive language, it is so very disturbed and they're illogical. They don't have any knowledge of any kind of foreign policy. They kind of a bully in the whole world, first of all, right? They want to buy the oil from Russia also, and they want to tell us India that don't buy oil from the Russia. Even that the India buys oils from the Russia is so less in quantity that it is very less compared to the US and the European buy in the whole day, right? So when you compare the hypocrisy of the European Union and the so-called colonialism mindset, you can think of the way that why the USA is very backing and have a the conflicts all over the world. USA has a defense budget of $658 billion. It is very devastating. USA is in the Pacific Ocean, sitting on a very its own continent. Why have a friendly countries with the Canada? Canada is not hostile. Then why you have to maintain such a big army with a big army budget? You have to maintain army and have a big army budget because you want to maintain a conflict in every part of the world. Just like you can see the Pakistan occupied Kashmir, just like you can see Afghanistan, the border, Afghanistan-Pakistan border. You can see the Myanmar separatist groups and terrorist groups, the Maoists in India. You are supporting the NGO groups that are they helping the Maoist groups in India, in the Arunachal Pradesh, the Meghalaya, the Kerala, Tamil Nadu, right? These are, you are supporting the Maoist group. America is supporting the Maoist groups all over the world, right? All over the terrorist groups are being supported by the America. You can see the Uyghur Muslim issues. You are the one who is supporting the terrorist outfits in the East Turkestan, the South Mongolia, right? You are the one who is supporting the so-called backing the Russian black markets in the past. You got the right. And the CIA is observing every people around the world. Just like you see from the 20 years past, a CIA operative has said that they were seeing every part of the world with their weapons and their softwares. So we have to aware that why there's a kind of multipolar world happening around the whole universe, right? You can think if I would say that India is a emerging power. There is no denying fact, right? India is a emerging power. India has now crossed the 3.2 trillion dollars of GDP marks, and India has a foreign reserve of around $600 billion. So it's very obvious that at the time when the India becomes a very crisp of being a superpower, just like the China is now becoming. So in USA will be the one who will be not supporting India, and USA will be the one who is supporting the enemy of the India. So it is very obvious that USA is now using the kind of a so-called very soft language while giving us giving a speech to India. They are giving a soft language because India is the one who is going to support the Pacific Ocean. India is the one who is going to support the Indo-Pacific Treaty. India is the one who is going to support the Quad Alliance, the AUKUS Alliance, the Middle Eastern Quad Alliance, and also India is going to be the one who is going to fight the China. Not the USA is going to fight China. I forget the US is going to fight any war in this era. No, it's not going to happen. You all know. There's no bit denying it. Because US is scaredy cat. When the Chinese aircrafts every day bypass the Taiwan security zone of the airspace, USA can't support the Taiwan. They will just support by giving them weapons and all that. But these weapons are not for the free pass. Why they're not for free pass? USA supporting Taiwan because the USA is supported by the private companies of the defense. The private companies wants money, right? They are not free seekers to give everyone with the free. Yes, the Americans are giving weapons with giving the price of the weapon in a very large amount. If you say if a weapon is cost around 75,000 rupees, it would be costing around 1,50,000 rupees for a same American weapon. It's because the American weapons are so downgraded. Yeah, why are the whole world using the AK-47? First of all, tell me that. AK-47 is the most reliable weapon in the whole world, and no one is going to replace it. That's the whole true fact. And why the American weapons are being sold every day? Because of the European backing and the American backing. I accept the fact that India has bought the 6 or 716 rifles, but it's just for the emergency procurement. But now, we are not buying the American weapons, we are buying the Russian weapons that are the AK-203, that are the most reliable weapons than the American weapons. We know the fact, we know the war, we know the how to win a war, and I myself am going to prefer for the Indian Air Force. I know what is going on around the world. That's why I'm saying that you have to understand what is going to happen and what is going to happen in the future and what is going to happen in this current world. We have to be aware. And to the country of India, I would say that two things. Don't fight over the fucking sorry to use abusive language. Don't fight over the religion. Yeah, we are from the past. We are from the same background. Okay, don't fight over the religion. Yeah. It's very sad to see these Western nations are mock us for this fighting. We are fucking sorry. We are very educated than them, right? We are very educated. The whole Silicon Valley is being supported by the Indians and the Chinese and the Asians. Their white are not going to do anything. They're just going to sit and enjoy the 100 acres of land of their house. So we are the one who's struggling to fight with a world of competition. So you have to know, Indian citizens, please don't fight over religion. Please maintain harmony so that everyone could have a peace and fight for the greatest cause of what is going to happen in future. You have to understand, Pakistan, India, the Akhand Bharat. Akhand Bharat is a old, okay, it is not going to happen in this world. It's a truth fact, okay. We can now maintain what is peace and security, peace of the humanity. What is Hinduism? Yeah, basically, I don't want to be focused on religion, but what is the meaning of religion? It's me following something so that the humanity peace could be maintained. Religion could be anything, but the sole motive is humanity and peace. You have to get it and maintain a security and peace all around you. Whenever a person says that, I'll give you an example. Whenever a person says that I'm certain from this X religion, so it is our duty to say that to that person that I'm also from that X religion. Because if you say that from the X religion that I'm also the X religion, then the other person could have a sense of very happiness that he also from the X religion. No matter what you are from the religion are you, but that kind of small steps would maintain us peace and harmony at the long run. And when the person will well educated and the community will educated, the whole country would get educated. Here, see that India has a literacy rate of 78% around, right? It's fact, okay. Right. So 78% of the 1.3 billion population as a whole, around 900 billion. So it is 3 times more educated persons than the whole American population. Don't you think that India has a kind of very large amount of potential? So be proud of that, yaar. Don't be on this omegle and tell that. Don't be shy of being an Indian. Be proud to be an Indian, yaar. Okay, this is what we are meant of, and be proud of where the country you're living on. This is a very holy land, comprising of every religion around the world. Every country, every religion, almost every religion around the world is being originated from India, right? So be proud in that. The Muslims, the Sikhs, the Hindus, the Buddhism, the Jains, the Jews, are all being a part of the India living peacefully in harmony. Why can't we maintain that? Please be happy, please have a smile, don't fight, and be aware of the facts of the Western nation propaganda and save yourself, support the government, ask the government, but don't fight. Don't fight, don't fight. It is the same motive that I am going to be telling my views. When the time comes, I would be as an officer of the Indian Air Force. So it is my privilege of saying of what I'm telling right now, and I'm very knowledgeable of that. And thank you. This is all are of my views. Thank you so much.